What's going on, everybody? I'm Dan the Realtor. Today, we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't buy a house in 2023. Big changes in FHA and VA guidelines. We're going to talk about the two biggest issues facing the housing market right now. And then we're going to talk about what the heck is going on with Kanye. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus right here.
Today, welcome to the Real Estate Wire, man. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff today. But first, what's going on, big Coach Marcus?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah?
How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I feel kind of sad because I lost the bet last week.
You did.
I lost it. I went down in flames on that joint.
You did.
Because I thought I was right. Like, I was like, I don't like to bet.
I knew you were wrong, though. That's why I was like, yo.
No, but that was good. You pulled me in. Pause. Because, like, you was like, oh, I'm not sure. You played it like you wasn't sure, which was smart. Because then that made me overconfident. And then I was like, all right, bet.
But I told you, just like you had access to the database with Cheryl Brown. Right, and I lost that first. That was the first bet I lost.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I got guidelines, bro. You can't get me. I got guidelines.
No, it was stupid. It was dumb. We'll get to the push-ups because I owe you 25 push-ups. I'm a man of my word.
You do.
But first, got a little surprise for you.
A surprise? Wait a minute. Hold up.
Yeah, I ain't tell you. It wouldn't be a surprise if I told you about it.
That's true. I was wondering why you had a Walmart bag. Oh,
there you go, brother.
I appreciate it.
Got you some official Iverson Mall, Prince George's County Snicks.
Hey, some Snickerdoodles. Yes, I've been asking for these for like.
Yeah.
Oh, these ain't.
Those are official joints.
I know, but I said these ain't gonna make it really out the driveway.
No, they're not meant to.
I know. I'm gonna eat one.
Got some for yourself.
Oh.
Got some for you, old man. We got a guest. Our first live guest. We got
Papa Steven.
Papa Steve in the building.
My father-in-law.
Marcus' father-in-law tagging along. He's going to be trying to steal all our ideas. He's going to start his own podcast. It's going to be called The Steve Show.
Look, don't judge me because I ate that joint in 2 bites.
I'm about to eat my cookies right now. Yo, if y'all don't know about Snickerdoodles, so there's a big, huge controversy. And this is really, I consider this a personality test.
What?
If I really even consider you like a worthy human being, like if you're like a legit person. The difference between Forestville Mall Snickerdoodles and Iverson Mall Snickerdoodles, if you don't know the difference, one, we're probably not even friends. But two, hey Steve, this is a live audience right now, yo. This is dope. If you think that, one, all right, it's like this. I'm okay if you don't like Iverson Mall Snickerdoodle. I mean, it's ridiculous. Don't give me.
Yeah.
But I can get that. You say, I tasted Forestville Mall Snickerdoodles. I tasted Iverson Mall Snickerdoodles. I like. Okay, I get that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. But I can at least respect it, right? But if you are one of these people who thinks that there's no difference between Iverson Mall Snickerdoodles and Forestville Mall Snickerdoodles, you need to take a long walk off of a short pier. I don't respect you as a person. If you think that they taste the same, I can't taste the difference between Forestville Mall cookies and Iverson Mall Snickerdoodles. Lies.
All I know is I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Indeed, bro.
And let me just tell you this. I'm so glad I got my own bag that I don't have to share. How many more did you get? You get the box?
I had to get my wife's on. You can't get on without I get wife. Got my wife's on, got myself on. I actually had to ask the bag, so glad Steve came. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Steve don't eat all of them because I need that.
So I don't got to do push-ups now because I got you the cookies?
No, you should. You're going to give me the push-up, but I appreciate it. I might cut it down to 20. I think it was good.
So let's get into the first mortgage.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into the first real estate topic, shall we? So one of the biggest things that I think is really going on in the industry right now is interest rates. And I think one of the biggest things that most people are really thinking about right now is, should I buy a house? Should I not buy a house? And quite frankly, I'm more in favor of look, I don't think you should be buying a house right now if you don't plan on staying there for at least 3 to 5 years. If you know, right, that you're going to be leaving pretty soon, it might not be worth it for you.
To buy a house?
To buy a house.
So you know how you always are, sometimes, when we do the how to not, if we have a guest, the guest and myself will be on the same page, and you'll be like opposite, right? I'm gonna be opposite, right? Cause right now. So I feel like if you're ready to buy a house,
sure,
whether you're going to be here or not, buy it, right? It's an investment. Yes, you got to put money into it in terms of down payment, closing costs, that type of thing. But because of the market that we're in this DMV area, it's about 100% chance that unless the market tanks, you're going to make that money back plus some.
Yeah.
And you won't have spent, if you're spending $2,000 on a mortgage, that's $24,000 a year that you're investing in yourself versus having thrown away $24,000 over 3 years, $72,000. You just gave me, your landlord, 72 grand. Why not invest that into yourself?
I mean, yeah, that's easy math. I get that. In principle, easy math. No, what do you call that? Napkin on the back of a napkin, right?
Yeah.
It breaks down on the back of a napkin, very clean. But when you look at the numbers and you think, all right, for example, we did the market analysis last week, but I want to go a little bit more into depth on the January numbers. Now, remember, the January numbers are lagging indicators, right? That's not 100% indicative, because what happened in January is really a result of the activity that happened in December and November, right?
Right.
December and November. So the average sold volume is down 32%. The average sold price is up 3.5%. The median sold price is up 0.2. So if you're saying, yo, what's going on with the market, here's what's interesting about this. I'm not an economist, full disclosure, right? Full disclaimer, I'm not an economist.
Me either.
Right. But I've been in real estate 10 years and I know market cycles, right?
Yes.
We stay in our lane, right?
For sure.
And at the same time, we still have to study the market and pay attention to the market. Now,
correct.
Here's the thing. If you ask me, we're in a recession. And the reason I say that, I know that we've had this discussion before, but it feels very recession-y.
It does.
The market. It feels very...
It does.
The tough thing about a recession is you have to have think about this, you have to have 2 quarters of negative GDP growth.
Okay.
So 2 quarters is 6 months. But those numbers don't come out until 2 months after the 2 quarters, right? So for all intents and purposes, you won't know for 6 to 8 months. When you look back and say, oh, there was the first month of negative GDP growth, first quarter of negative GDP growth. Here's the second quarter of GDP growth. Now we're out of both of those 2 quarters, and then we look back and say, oh, we were in a recession. Okay. But you can also just feel the market that we're in right now and go, we have 32% decrease in the amount of the prices, the total volume of homes sold, right? And then we have an increase in the average sold price, which here's the interesting thing about this. The number of units sold is down by 30. The number of attached and detached are both down by 35%. So here's the thing. Now let's slide over. I'm building a case. Stick with me. January 2022, the active listings were 3,635 new listings last year. This year, the number of active listings is 5,000 in January, 177. So the average number of listings, the inventory, is up by 42%. So we have more houses on the market than we did last year, right? We have we have less pendings than we did last year. So
that means more houses, but less under contract.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we have more houses, but 19% deduction in new pendings, and all pendings are down 23%. So what's that saying? People putting their properties on the market, but it's not a lot of people that are actually putting their properties under contract because it's getting more expensive. The interest rates are pushing the affordability out. And the prices are still going up. So the prices are going up. The amount of inventory is increasing, but the buyers are not.
Buyers are not there. There's no buyer confidence because of where their interest rates are.
Exactly.
Because we're back at 6, right at 7%.
We're at 7, probably gonna go maybe hover around there for a while. We don't know what the market's going to do. The only thing we can do is predict, is interpret the data as it exists right now. That being said, this looks like a pullback in the real estate activity as far as the growth is concerned.
Right. Now, and you said, I don't mean to cut you off, but you did say, like, just feel the market, right? So you have to be an active realtor and lender to be able to be in this market,
right,
and to feel it. Like, you have to be immersed in it. And I'm not saying whether part-time, full-time. I'm just saying you have to be actively engaged in it, because, like, one of the like what you spoke of is almost like the eye test, and I call it because I'm gonna bring it to the sports world always because that's just me. But like in basketball, you have all these analytics, right? And this person shot from this, this percentage from this place, whatever, and that will determine whether or not that person or those people or those teams are good at a certain thing. But I'm like, yo, why can't you just look at him and be like, he like that, like he's not good with the rest of them on the floor, and analytics don't really get it. So I'm so old school in my approach. And I think in that same way, and we talked about back in the day, there used to be these listing books and before internet technology, those realtors had to feel the market and they had to communicate. And and there's some things in our business that never change. And I think the thing that'll never change is the eye test and you being able to really, really feel the market and know and be in it.
Right. That's the beauty of, you got the headlines and they obviously want to sell clicks and they want to get you into their articles or whatever. But when you look at just pure numbers, numerically, you have to. So here's how you can tell if it's a buyer's market or if it's a seller's market. You can tell if it's a buyer's market and a seller's market by inventory. We talked about that. Inventory basically means if nobody else put their property on the market today, how long would it take us to completely run out of houses to sell, period, until we get to 0 houses and everybody's like, oh, ain't no more houses, right? How long would that take? The longer that takes, the more indicative of which market we're in. So for example, if nobody else put their property on the market today, and then it take us 12 months to run out of houses, well, that means that we're in an extreme buyer's market because you have your choice of home. You can choose from any house that you want because we got 12 months to do that. We got a whole bunch of houses.
Before there's
0 houses, exactly. Now, if everybody stopped putting their properties on the market today and we run out of homes in a month, well, then we know that the supply of homes is extremely limited and therefore it's a seller's market because if there's less supply than there is the demand, if there's less supply and there's more demand, that pushes the prices up.
And the sellers can negotiate. They have the upper hand.
Basically. Exactly. Sellers have the upper hand.
So because you use 1 month and you use 12 months, what's the number?
In the middle, what we would call a neutral market is 6 months.
No, I'm saying where does it flip over where you say, is it really 1 month where that'll determine whether or not it's a buyer's or seller's market?
The amount of houses that we have available determines whether we're in a buyer's market or a seller's market.
Right. So how many months does it take for us to determine, is it 3 months worth of inventory or is it 4 months of inventory?
From 1 to about 1 to 6 months technically is a seller's market.
Okay.
6 months 6 months is considered a neutral market, and then anything above 6 months is considered a buyer's market.
Okay. Right. I didn't know that.
I mean, for us in the cheap seats, like I like to break it down. So here's where we are here in the DMV. Now, you guys may be listening to like national news, but you have to also pay attention to your local market because real estate is a hyper local industry. Now, as of January 2023, we have 5,177 listings. New active properties being marketed for sale, right? Active listings, that's what we call it. And then what I'm doing now, typically you'll take that number and divide it by their number of sold. But I don't want to just look at their numbers sold because that's a lagging indicator. Because if the property was sold, then that means somebody put it under contract back in December, right? So that's not exactly the pulse. The pulse that I'm looking for is pendings because that's telling us like what happened like now, like right now. They haven't closed yet, so some of those could fall through.
But they're under contract.
Yeah, they could fall out. But the number of pendings as of January was 3,736. So if you take that and divide it, which I've already done, if you divide the pendings by the active listings, that tells you how many months it would take us to run out of houses if all of those were sold.
That's 1.5 months.
Exactly. 1.38 months of inventory, which means here in the DMV, we're still in a seller's market. Even though the headlines are saying everything's going to bedlam. That's why you got to pay attention to the local market.
Yeah, you got to be in it. You got to be immersed in it. And I can't stress the education about it because I've learned something today, and that's why I had the questions because you can't be afraid to ask the questions to the people that know. And sometimes you got to fact check. You know, like I shouldn't say sometimes. I mean, it's good to
Always.
always fact check.
You always got to do that.
So I'm glad that. So like when you hear Dan say this, you know, y'all jump online and type it into the Google machine.
Yeah, and also we're interested in hearing your comments too, yo. Like, start
Yeah,
commenting on our stuff. If you
please
got a
do,
question or
please
something,
do.
feel free to reach him. But that's why I say, you know, for this particular topic, I think, look, if you don't plan on being at the house for the next 3 to 5 years at least, you shouldn't be buying right now because the inventory is telling us, yo, it's still a seller's market, and if you buy and you try to sell, right, and then the market flips on you, and then we start getting more. I'm seeing it right now, as far as you know. A lot of my buyers are. I mean, we just closed the deal yesterday. I just closed the deal yesterday. I got them closing costs out. We got a full inspection. These things weren't happening 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't. You weren't getting full inspections. You weren't getting closing costs out. You weren't getting down payment assistance. I mean,
Yeah.
you could get down payment assistance, but a lot of people didn't want to accept offers that had down payment assistance because they thought it was too complicated. I don't want to wait that long. What if it falls through? Da, 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 da. Now we're in a different market, and so we're not getting the huge, 20% increases in prices because, according to the market analysis, the average sales price to list price ratio is down 2.39%.
So
what does that mean?
That means they dropping the price.
Exactly, right? So the people,
but let's give a real number though. So if the average sales price is $500,000, and then it's dropping 2%, that means you actually go under contract for $490,
right?
Because you drop 2% of $500,000 to $10,000, and you know people come in the door and say, "I'm not going to give you $500,000."
Yeah. Or
you drop the price to $490 because it's sitting for longer.
I mean, but that was the real price. Because whether we acknowledge it or not, buyers determine the value of your home.
Yeah, that's a fact.
That's it. What good is a house? Yeah, I'm gonna put it on for $2 million. Okay, but everything around you selling for $500,000. So you can put it on for $2 million. But guess what happens? If you put your house on the market for too much money, you become the highest bidder for your house. And you know what happens if you're the highest bidder? You get to keep your house. You get to buy it for yourself, right? I'm sure if you're putting your property on the market, you don't want to sell it to yourself. So the list price to sales price ratio is a good sign, right?
Yeah.
That, hey, if you bought your house last year and you want to try and sell it real quick, you might end up losing money because the list price to sales price ratio is down by 2.39%. Like these are the numbers that we're seeing.
Yeah.
That being said, if you do want to buy, you got to buy and hold for at least 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Or it might make more sense, renting.
Yeah. And if you go and should you choose to purchase a home, I can't stress the importance of making sure that you're ready. Like it's not just about the black and white and the paperwork, about the readiness. It's about the overall thought process to, I'm buying a home for my family and I've got maintenance and I've got some other things to consider, but taxes can go up, insurance can change. Yes, you got to, pay the monthly payment. There's a level of responsibility that you now step into. But make sure your credit, is in order. If it's not, I can help, but you have your documents together, that you're prepared to move on it, because there's nothing like in our world, speaking with those that say that they're ready, but haven't counted the costs.
Sure.
Cost is not just all money. It's the entire experience, counting it all and saying, okay, I wasn't thinking about that, or nobody told me that. But that's why you got to make your phone calls, shoot your emails, do your research, and be as ready as you can. So
let's get to the next real estate topic.
What is that?
The big changes in let's talk about that. The big changes with FHA and VA guidelines. What's going on with them, Coach Mark?
FHA is trying to save you some money. VA is trying to save you some money. So anytime you have a loan that doesn't have a 20% down payment, conventional loans require mortgage insurance. That mortgage insurance, it adjusts and it looks at how much money you're putting down, credit score, things like that. FHA is a government loan. VA is a government loan. So I'll talk about VA in a second. But FHA, being a government loan, requires a minimum of 3.5% down payment. FHA. There's always mortgage insurance associated with an FHA loan. Why? Because it's a government-backed loan. It's usually a loan that a lot of first-time buyers or higher risk buyers obtain.
What's mortgage insurance?
Mortgage insurance I guess in its simple form, the way I explain it is it's an insurance policy that we as the lenders take out on that money that we're lending you in the event that you as the buyer default on your mortgage.
So if I don't default, then
you still
I get that money back, right?
Not a bit.
Oh.
So that's like insurance. If you don't run into nothing, do you get your money back?
I don't get my money back?
No, Chris Rock talked about it. He said in case, right?
Right.
He said
in case stuff.
Yeah. So it's in case something happens. So there's an insurance policy that's there in case you default. So if you default on a $300,000 mortgage, then there's an insurance policy. The lender gets all their money back on that foreclosure, but FHA requires that it's there. They have it doesn't move with your credit or the strength of your profile. It's a set amount, and it's been for a large number of years. 0.8 monthly. It's a formula of 0.85% of your loan amount is what you will be paying each month in terms of mortgage insurance. Excuse me. So let's just say in real numbers, there was like $200 a month, right? Well, or actually in this situation, let's say $250. But as of March 20th, if you do an application as of March 20th of 2023, instead of it being 0.85 each month, which is at $275, it's going to drop down to 0.55. So it's going to save you some money every month. That's now people that already have FHA loans, you already have the 0.85. That's going to stay, right? If you're trying to buy a home after March, let's say March 21st.
So is that at the date of closing or the date of ratification, or I guess the date?
So when the date that the FHA case number is assigned to your loan, that's when we will be putting your assigning the 0.55%.
So that's when you lock in your rate. But
right.
But it's before you close?
So yeah, it is. I mean, so you do lock the rate before you close.
So once the FHA number gets attached, then it gets attached with that new mortgage insurance premium number.
This 0.55% is applicable to loans with an FHA case number, obviously FHA loan, assigned to that borrower's loan file March 20th and beyond.
Now, here's my conspiracy theory hat on. You know me. Mm-hmm. I got my aluminum foil hat on.
I know.
You know what I'm about to ask. I never seen bank.
I don't know.
I never seen the government do anything to benefit the people that was not more beneficial for them. So my question is, why are they doing this? Why they ain't doing it for nothing?
Man, I feel
What's the hook?
I feel like if depending on who you ask, there was a statement released, I believe, our Vice President Kamala Harris. She was talking about the benefit to potential homeowners, right? I think there's some truth to that. I mean, it's a fact. I mean, if the number is cheaper each month, it's a benefit each month, right? It doesn't change your qualifications. Mm-hmm. Although, if you ask some lenders, it's a little bit tougher for your standard loan file to get approved through underwriting. The guidelines are changing. So it's like, okay, if the guidelines are changing, it's getting a little bit tougher for your loans to get approved, then okay, if it's tougher for me to get a loan approved, it's, okay, it is what it is. But okay, now they're going to give it a cheaper amount each month. Well, cheaper amount each month doesn't really matter as much if it's still more difficult for me to get my loan approved.
What did they make more difficult?
So the pricing adjustments. So like how now, okay, here we go swimming in deep water, but we talk about loan level price adjustments. So basically they calculate the risk associated for each borrower. So if you're in certain brackets, there's certain brackets with, in our systems, what's your credit or what type of loan is it? How much of a down payment are you making? Are you a first time buyer or not? These are the type of things that we talk about loan level price adjustments. And if you have more risk, right, then you increase the risk on the side of the lender. Therefore, It may be a little bit tougher for the system to approve.
So that goes into like the 4 C's, the credit, character, capacity, and collateral.
Credit, collateral, and capacity.
Right. Credit, character, capacity, collateral. What else?
You giving 4 now, and you said 3.
No, that's it. The 4 C's.
You said 3 C's, didn't you?
Possibly.
Oh, okay. I could have sworn I heard you say 3.
I said, we want to run back the videotape. It was yeah,
Video
four
tape.
C's: credit, capacity, character, and collateral.
Okay. Okay.
And then, so what you're saying is the requirements have changed with regards to the four C's.
Yeah, they're making it a little. They're tightening the screws a little bit on that, and then the fact that they tighten those screws up a little bit, it makes it a little bit harder for the loan to go into the system. That's why I'm an advocate of making your credit as good as it can be, as strong as it can be, right? So if you're on the lower level, lower side of the credit scale, you're going to have those pricing adjustments because you provide a higher risk because you're on the lower side of the credit scale. So Marcus, what is a better side of the credit scale? If you're in that 680 mark, if you're in that 680 range, you don't really pose as much of an issue or threat or credit risk. Get into that 660, it's still fine. A little bit tighter sometimes. 640, a little bit tighter. But if you're down at 620, 600, 580 range, and 580 is the minimum that you can get or you can have in terms of a credit score, and get an FHA loan with only the minimum down payment. So if you're closer to that 580, then you present the highest risk. It makes it a little bit sometimes tougher to.
Right.
So you just got to offset.
I mean, that's kind of like what we're talking. That it's not fair, but life isn't always fair.
Life ain't.
So and what we will say, hey, everything is within our control. We have the ability. Like I say all the time, like 5 years is a lifetime, man. And we have the ability, like, hey, if this year 2023 your credit's jacked, you got till year 2028, like fix it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Getting more responsible with your credit card bills, getting more responsible with your debt to income ratio, creating a long-term financial plan. These are all things that can be achieved.
Yeah.
With just a tiny bit of adjustment, a tiny bit of planning.
Yeah.
Having conversations with, cats like us, Coach Mark, and not just listening to our podcast, but listening to other podcasts too of, a lot of people out here that are really putting out some real good information.
Yeah.
So
let me also jump in because I want to tell you about the VA, because VA as of April 7th, VA is doing the same thing. So for your veterans, right? So veterans out there, I will strongly encourage, look at me in my eyes. I strongly encourage, if you have served in the military and you have access to your VA benefits, I encourage you to tap into your e-benefits website. Find out if you can obtain a certificate of eligibility. If you don't have your DD-214, which shows your statement of service, basically, because now you've gotten out of the military, then you can go there, have your conversations with the people at VA, get a copy of your DD-214. You can get a certificate of eligibility, which we call COE, and you can find out whether or not you are eligible for a VA loan. Because if you're eligible for a VA loan and have never used it, then you can get one of the best, if not the, I'm going to stand and say that a VA loan is the best loan in terms of the flexibility of the financing, and it provides usually the best interest rate in the market, better than conventional. You're going to give yourself access to the best loan, and you don't have to make a down payment at all. So it's dope, right? And I can't tell you how many veterans I've spoken to that have never tapped into it. So, give me a shout, man. I can definitely help you walk through that process. So what they did was, for a first-time user of your VA benefit to buy a home, they have what's called a funding fee, right? So the VA funding fee, the FHA has the mortgage insurance, right? USDA loans, which is another government loan, they have what's called a guarantee fee. But VA has a funding fee. So FHA and USDA pay a little something each month. VA doesn't have anything you pay each month, but they take that funding fee and add it onto your loan balance. It's just a security instrument to make sure that you don't default on this loan.
So you have to do that for the full life of the loan?
You get it for the life. You just blend it into your loan and you pay it over time, right? For first-time users, it was sitting at 2.3% of your loan amount is being added to your loan for the funding fee. They're dropping it down to 2.15 for first-time users. So it's saving you a little bit. Yeah, it's good. It's saving you a little bit of money. Every little bit helps in this market. Yeah. Because while their interest rates are doing this, again, unfortunately, they're still creeping up. Yeah. And this is the roller coaster we talked about.
I don't really know if that's unfortunate, though. Here's the interesting
It's thing. Unfortunate because
is it though? Because it's
because of the people. It's the people's perspective.
The perception of the people. But here's the thing. Here's another perspective, perception that I would introduce. I would say this. If the interest rates are going up, then that means the economy is going really, really well. The economy is really, really hot. And the reason they're increasing the interest rates is because they're trying to cool the market down. Right? So when the interest rates go up, that means the market's too hot. That means there's too much buying, too much activity, too much money out in the streets. They're trying to recapture that money. So they're creeping the interest rates up, which means the economy is going really well. If the interest rates are going down, that means the economy is going really, really crappy because they're trying to increase the spending. They're trying to encourage people to buy. So it's kind of a counterintuitive thought process.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of people are hoping, oh man, I hope we don't go into a recession. But guess what? If we go into a recession, 99% of the time, the last 4 of the 6 recessions we had, interest rates went down because we were in a recessionary economy.
Yeah.
So, and I get a lot of people in my comments talking about, oh man, we're going to get a whole bunch of inventory. And then once we get, and the interest rates are going to jack up to 10%, 15%, you'll see. And I'm kind of like, I hear you, but like you're saying 2 opposite things and you don't even know that you're saying 2 opposite things.
You being nice because I don't even hear. I'm like, man, where you get that? Where you get that from?
You know, like we talked about last. I like to respond because I think it's an opportunity for education. If you're, it's going to be one or the other. Either you're going to say we're going to get a whole bunch of inventory, right? That's going to flood the market, and then that's going to cause prices to drop. And then, but if that happens, the interest rates can't shoot up through the roof too, because if the prices go down, then that means a whole bunch of people are going to start buying, right? And then that's going to mean that, oh crap, now we got hyperinflation again because the more people are going to buy, that's going to put upward pressure on prices, and then we're going to have hyperinflation. Prices are going to start going through the roof, right? If they drop the interest rates, if we get flooded with inventory, right, and then we have a whole bunch of houses everywhere, that's going to put downward pressure on prices. Well, that means that the economy is going bad. If people slow down with the buying, then they're going to have to. I mean, if people start, if there's a whole bunch of houses out in the market and nobody's buying them because everybody's going to have to be forced to drop their prices, well, now all of a sudden they're going to have to drop the interest rates again, right? Because they're going to try to spur the economy back on and go, oh crap, there's nobody buying houses anymore. We need to drop the interest rates back down. So you can't have a deluge of inventory and high interest rates market. What's happening right now, however, is we have an increase in inventory and we have high interest rates, right? So we have a whole bunch of inventory, but a lot of people are also scared to buy, which is kind of a mistake in my opinion. I think if you see a whole bunch of the interest rates increasing, you see a whole bunch of inventory coming, now is actually a great time to buy.
Oh yeah.
It's an amazing time to buy because now people say, oh, Dan, you said that 2 years ago. I said it 2 years ago too, because it was a good time to buy 2 years ago. It was harder to buy 2 years ago. Way harder to buy because
I don't know if there's ever a bad time to buy.
I don't think there's ever a bad time to buy, and I don't think there's ever an easy time to buy. Like,
right,
it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to come with challenges, and the numbers are going to be what they are.
Right.
Buy what you can afford. Don't buy
what you can afford.
Yeah, don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, if you missed the Black Friday sale, that doesn't mean that it's overpriced. It just means that you just didn't time it. You didn't get the sale.
And you can't time this market.
You can't time the market. You can right now though. You can get a good discount on the market.
You can.
The funny thing is, I wish I knew that you couldn't have more than. I wish I knew that you could actually have more than one FHA loan at a time because of our bet last week that I lost.
You trying to do them now? Or you want to do it at the end? How you want?
I'm gonna do the push-ups right now. I'm a man of my word.
Let's go get it.
I pay off my bets.
Good. Go ahead and pay it off.
I'm a Lannister. The Lannisters always pay their debts.
I don't know about
what we said. 10 push-ups.
25, boy.
Oh, 25. Stand by. Real Estate Wire Squad. Your man Dan always pays his debts. Let me make sure all these recording. Is this camera on me? All right, here we go. All right, I'm gonna take my jacket off for this one.
Yeah, because you're gonna be sweaty, out of breath.
Woo!
And
all right, here we go, people.
And I'm recording it.
That's mine. Take it down. What's up, old man Steve? Can you see me?
They can't see you, but I can.
Good enough. Ready?
Uno, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Ready?
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Pay my debts.
Appreciate it.
Actually, that was a good workout.
Oh, dang.
That was good.
That was a good warm up. It wasn't no workout.
That was a good little workout.
That wasn't it. That was a warm up to a warm up.
Yeah, that was a warm up workout. Woo.
You need some time. Oh, break the chair. So where are we gonna go from here? We gonna go to the real estate hot or not, or we have any other topics? What are we gonna do?
I want to get into the two biggest issues facing the housing market right now. In an article from Keeping Current Matters, it talks about the two biggest issues, which is one, rate lock homeowners, where basically, according to the Federal Housing Administration, the Federal Housing Finance Administration, the average mortgage rate is less than 4%. So
where?
Nationally, the average mortgage rate of overall loans is about 3.8%. Now, the average interest rate that people are locked in. So there's of the people who have mortgages right now, 24.4% are locked in at less than 3%.
So okay. So I just want to make sure that my understanding is clear. We're talking about when they look at all the homeowners that have a mortgage with a locked interest rate. If you even if you got your loan 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you have a locked interest rate.
Because you got to remember, a lot of those people refinanced.
Yeah, but they locked maybe at 3% or 2%,
Sure.
a couple years ago when during COVID. But then you take it, the ones that are locking now that are like 6.75 or something like that.
Right.
They're locked as well, so they're putting all of it in the bucket and
all the information and over they broke it down, and 24.4% of mortgage loans that are out right now that have been originated. 24.4% are less than 3%.
Okay.
40% of those loans, 40.8%, are between 3% and 4%. 20% of those loans are between 4% and 5%. 7.1% of all those loans are 5 to 6%, and 7.5% of all those loans are greater than 6%. What does all that mean? Basically, it means that a large majority of the people who got loans right now are locked in at less than 3%, less than 4%. So when we talk about rate locked homeowners, it's homeowners who have such a great freaking interest rate. It doesn't make sense for them financially to go into another house and lock in at a higher interest rate.
No,
it makes sense. I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't either. And I tell people all the time, don't do it.
Yeah. I wouldn't. It's a challenge.
If you're a homeowner and you have equity, which you more likely do, and you need the equity for whatever the reasons are, go to your bank, go to your mortgage broker and get a home equity line of credit. Yeah. That should be a second loan attached to the house.
I think that the people who are selling now are people who have to sell, right? Not the people who 2 years ago just took advantage of it. Like, well, hey, and not advantage in a bad way. I mean advantage in a good way. They say, hey, looks like, babe, we can get this, $800,000 house for the same prices that we're paying per month on this $500,000 house. It makes, it only made sense to me 2 years ago. It made perfect sense.
That was happening in my neighborhood all the time.
Dude, I did a whole bunch of buying.
My wife was like, hey, we should do it. I said, it ain't happening.
I mean, moving is a lot, and I get it. But I say all that to say that's one of the biggest issues that we're seeing right now, rate locked homeowners. The second biggest challenge that we're seeing in the real estate market right now is the fear of not being able to find something.
Yeah.
So even if, you do get over the hurdle of, all right, you just suck it up and you're going to get locked in at a higher interest rate because you got to move, what do they say? There's a few, the D's of moving. It's like 5 D's of moving. It's like, or is it 5 B's or something like I can't remember, but there's 5 reasons that people move typically, right? It's family, death, divorce, diapers. It's like the 5 D's: death, divorce, diapers, and something else. Y'all can add it in the comment. Put that in the comments below. But those are typically the reasons people have to move. And if you have to, right, you run into one of those 5 D's where you say, okay, well, I'm having a baby, or I'm having a divorce, or I had a death in the family, or I have dollars, right, for a job. I have to move. Then, yeah, I get it.
I think maybe 4. My bad.
4? Is it 4 D's?
I see 4 on here. It says death, divorce, dislocation, and downsizing.
Well, there's 5. Death, location, divorce, downsizing, and dollars, which means you just got a job, right? You're making more money. So that's typically the 5 Ds.
Okay.
And the second biggest barrier to the market right now is fear of not finding something. So that's where a lot of the struggle in our inventory is. Like, that's why we don't have a bunch of houses that a lot of people putting their properties on the market, because most people are either locked in at such a great rate, they're rate locked, or they don't know where they're going to go because, there's no inventory for them to even buy. So a lot of people are kind of locked in.
And the combo.
Yep.
If they do find something and they buy this new place, they're going to buy this new place at 6%, 7%, not at the 3 that they got. So
exactly.
Like,
and so that's another kind of a dam holding up this flood of inventory again. Why it doesn't make sense for people. This is a very different market than it was in 2008.
For sure.
People, we hear recession, which a recession is a normal part of any economic cycle. You have to plan on a recession because it's a part of your whole financial strategy. They cause each other. They create each other. The down creates the up. The up creates the down. It's a constant pendulum that the energy continues to balance itself out.
Yeah.
And so it's not something to be scared about. It's something to understand that it's coming and then plan for.
Yeah. I'm with it. What goes up must come down.
Come back.
That's why you said don't get too high, too low.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, for sure. So let's get into
the real estate.
Oh,
I was gonna do it.
Okay, my bad. All right, here we go. Beep. Yo. So let's get into the real estate, hot or not. Boom, 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 boom.
You want to UPN that segment so bad.
I want to what? UPN?
UPN. You want the frog to come out and everything, or the WB.
The WB. Y'all remember the WB?
Yeah. Shows a whack for the most part. But go ahead. That's when your mom let you watch TV. You old enough to watch TV then.
It smells like junior high school right now. So the real estate hot or not? I think we should just go straight into what's going on with Kanye, man. Like, so did you see the article?
Yeah. It's all over the place.
You think it's true?
Absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
I don't go that far.
Let me tell you, like the culture shifted when he created the Yeezys. Okay, so let me just go back. So Kanye, I'm not talking about his personal life. I'm not talking about like any of those other things. So save those comments for whoever else, because I ain't trying to
save it for another podcast.
Yeah. But when he came on the scene with his music, he changed the landscape of music. When he came on the scene and he started getting into fashion, it was so different, but different, just like his music, changes things. So his fashion was so different. People looking at it like it looks kind of alienish or whatever. It's very different, but it became a cultural phenomenon. He got a chance to partner. Now his first shoes were with Nike, and those first Yeezys are crazy. He had a small little joint venture with Louis Vuitton, and maybe somebody in between. But when he got with Adidas, that's when it took off. And those shoes have become like a culture, a status symbol, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like cool to wear the Yeezys.
Right. And real talk, those Yeezy low tops are some of the most comfortable shoes.
It's
bro.
Just a bunch of styrofoam.
Bro, it's not, bro. Like it's not.
Memory foam shoes.
Nike, the Air technology. So I'm a Foot Locker alumni, right? So like,
I used to work at Foot Action. Did I ever tell you that?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I used to work at Foot Action in Forestville Mall.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's how you know.
Drive all the way down the street to get
this Snickerdoodles. So that's how you know about the comparison.
Yeah.
But like, if you look at the Nike Air technology and Reebok, you're not even gonna talk about them because they're trash, and then Fila, whatever, they're trash. But you're talking about like Nike Air versus like Adidas. Those are only two really competitors that you see out there. But the Air technology feels a certain way. You put that Adidas Boost on. Now I'm a hardcore Nike fan and loyal to the swoosh. My brother-in-law was like, shout out Chai. He's like, yo, you gotta try them Yeezys on. He's like, they change your life.
My wife been trying to get me on Crocs for like 2 years.
I can't do it. I'm not a Croc dude.
I'm about to get, hey Steve, you rock the Crocs? I'm about to rock some Crocs, man.
Crocs sandals.
Okay.
I can't do it. But see, the technology and that boost technology in the
Wait,
in
like flip
Adidas,
flops? Yeah, I can
he
see
lives
that.
in Florida, so
I'm not.
man, that boost your
Wait, do
feet
you
feel
wear it
so
with
different.
socks? Okay, good.
No, no.
That was a coolness test. You passed. All right, let me ask you this then, Marcus. What's your projection on the Kanye thing? You think is he actually going to like get back with Adidas, or you think this is just like some promotional hype?
I don't think it's promotional. I think it's real. I don't see him getting back with Adidas. I think he's going to move forward and create his own thing, which is what he should do.
Yeah,
100% ownership is what you should do,
I
Kanye
never
West.
understood why he never just started his own shoe factory
He
in the
did.
first place.
He did.
But
I
what
don't
was you
think.
saying about Sway?
So the interview with Sway back in, I forget how long, 10 years ago, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Sway was telling him like, why don't you just do your own thing? He was like, you ain't got the answers, whatever. But what it
Right.
came down to, he didn't have the money. He didn't have. I don't believe he had the
Oh,
experience and the know-how, right?
right.
And if you're going to invest billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars or whatever, like you got to know what you're doing. Or if you have
Yeah.
investors, you got to know what you're doing and have a real action plan. And I do believe, number one, that going forward, yes, this is a real thing with Adidas. They are sitting on billions of dollars worth of inventory that they
can't
cannot sell.
Yeah.
And this is messing with their
That's
corporate
like if
numbers.
Nike couldn't sell Jordans anymore.
Right. Like we gonna figure this out because like why are we sitting there wasting $1 billion or whatever? So you got that involved, and then you also have. So yes, I think they're going to sell the shoes. He's going to make some money off of whatever's there. I don't think they're going to produce any more, but they'll sell at least what they have. And then going forward, I believe he will recreate. He'll do what he's been doing. He came into the scene, onto the scene with the music. He changed things. He came into the scene with the fashion. He changed things. Now he hopefully will be a freestanding model to create, manufacture his own thing and go forward. And this, I believe, will be the greatest moment and greatest season of his life because he'll be able to really look back and say, I've made progress, I've made success and failures, but this is the thing that after all life is blown up, if I do this the right way, this will change things forever.
Solid. Couldn't say it better myself.
And I hope he does it.
I agree. I agree 100%.
Because guess what?
Bro.
Here's the last piece, though. Me and you, as black men, building a business, building something generational, right? Multi-generational for your son, your family, your grandkids. Same on my side. Like we've made a ton of mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We've learned a ton. But when you no longer are trying to like sip from the cup of the Keller Williams leads or whoever lead generation, so and me in the same way working for banks and getting the leads coming in, and I know how to do this, and I've got the right experience, I've got the right amount of failures, and now we can go and do this on our own, and we like, oh, I know how to do it right now, and still take counsel.
I think right, and still take counsel
to be better.
There's that line where it's like, you know, I mean, I hear that all the time, but I'll be like, oh man, why don't you start your own brokers? I'm like, well, I could start my own brokers, but even if you have, let's say you have a 9-to-5 job, right?
Mm-hmm.
You work whatever, you got a degree, you have a nice corporate job, or if you just have a regular blue collar job, you still have your own business.
Mm-hmm.
Your life is your business.
Correct.
Your bank account is your business bank account, even if it's not an LLC. And so you could go out, and I think we talked about this with LLC culture, the episode that we did on LLC culture. Go back and check out that episode if you didn't. I believe it's episode 3 or 4. Just check out all of them again if you haven't. But, you know, there's this hype around going out, being my own man, being my own boss, and doing this and that. And a lot of times we don't really take into consideration the overhead costs that we're going to incur by, you know, going out and starting our own blacksmith shop, right? Or starting there's a real good book called The Richest Man in Babylon. And I'll sum it down to a very 2 or 3 sentences, which is there was this one guy who would service the entire village water. He was the guy, and he would go down every day. He would bring the buckets of water. He would go down to the creek and then go all the way back up to the creek. He would walk back up to the creek with this bucket of water. He would service the whole neighborhood. One bucket of water, and the whole neighborhood was excited. They're like, oh man, this is the water guy. He brings us this bucket of water. Then another guy came into the neighborhood, his competitor. And his competitor came and said, there's probably a better way to service the whole neighborhood. And so what they did was they built a access way to the water, basically a stream, or kind of like where they used to do what they call agriculture.
Aqueduct.
Aqueduct, right. And they basically created a way so that the water goes directly to people's houses.
Mm.
And so you have this guy who's basically, a one-man show going back and forth. He's got his pride because he's his own independent person, but then this company comes and just completely wipes him out, right? And so we have to be thinking about these types of rich man in Babylon type things like, yeah, I can go out on my own and start my own brokerage, but I'm already plugged into a brokerage. Do I need to take on that overhead? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Maybe that was my dream a long time ago and I wanted to open my own brokerage. Okay, cool. If that's what you want to do, more power to you. I'm simply suggesting that it's not the only way to really see some, to create a good lifestyle for yourself, to generate wealth. As long as you're taking your money, if you're a W-2 employee and you're taking that money and you're converting it into passive income, we're going to do a whole episode on passive income versus earned income. And we're going to do a whole episode on cash flow quadrant. Also, we're going to be doing more information about our real estate home buying seminar. More details going to come on our next episode. But as long as you're doing these things, then you don't necessarily need to go out on your own because you still have your own business. And like we talked about on episode 10, you got to mind your own business.
For sure.
Mind it. Pay attention to your business.
My boy said, mind the business that pays you.
For sure. So let's get into the last real estate hot or not. I want to get into some would you rather.
Okay.
So, Coach Marcus, would you rather?
Uh-oh.
Would you rather have 6 months? I'll keep it easy. This will be easy.
Okay.
This will be an easy one. Would you rather have 6 months of spring or 6 months? No, I'm sorry. Would you rather have 6 months of spring or 6 months of summer?
Summer.
I'll take the spring.
Allergies are worse in the spring for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Dang, you walking around with a box of tissue?
Man, sometimes.
Zyrtec?
Roll of toilet paper in the back of the truck.
Roll it.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate agents carry rolls of toilet paper for a different reason. Would you rather spend a bunch of money on your wedding or spend a bunch of money on your honeymoon?
Honeymoon.
Yeah, honeymoon. I mean, neither really for me, but if I have no choice, I'll do the honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Would you rather let a spider climb all over you or let a snake slither across you?
Either one gonna get killed, but
you only have one choice.
A spider crawl all over me?
Or a snake slither across
spider.
You. Really?
Because I don't know if that snake is poisonous or not.
I mean, both of them could be poisonous.
True, but there's something about a snake that I see it. It's got to die. I
think I'll take the snake. I feel like a spider crawling all over me, like he could go pretty much anywhere. I don't know how, you know what I mean? Up my nose, in my ear, in my no man's land. Like, I don't know. I'd rather just have a snake just come across one good time and just end it. Then I can go home and take a shower.
What else you got?
Would you rather go a year without desserts or have to eat a spoonful of wasabi every single day?
What? A spoonful of wasabi every day or no desserts for a whole year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Knowing me, I'd probably take the wasabi every day.
Didn't the cut out sweets? You rather have the sweets?
No sweets for a year help me lose weight, but
I'm not really a big sweets person anyway. I don't need a bunch of sweets.
But I'd probably get used to that wasabi.
Nah, I don't think so, dog.
A teaspoon?
A spoonful. Wasabi, like a little dabble like that.
Yeah. Let me change. Yeah, that thing will have your ears and nose and everything open. Yeah, let me switch that answer.
All right, guys. Sweets. Well, thank you so much for jumping on to the podcast. Y'all. We really appreciate you guys. We are on all platforms. We're on Spotify. We're on Google. We are on Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Like, subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment at the bottom of our channel or our page if you're watching on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And if you're listening on the podcast, make sure to leave a comment.
Yep.
Leave a 5-star review so that it really helps us with the YouTube and the iTunes algorithm.
Download the episodes, do all that. Share with your friends and family.
Make sure you share it. We really appreciate you guys sharing it so far and all the positive feedback we've been getting so far. Thank you again, guys, so much. My name is Dan the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
And we are out.